the theology of rest. Okay, today I'm going to preach on the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, 1 through 14. Now, as you know, the book of Ecclesiastes is a poetic literature. Well, actually, half of the book is a poem, okay, and the other half part is a narrative. But chapter 7 is a poetic nature of what King Solomon is going to say to us. Now, but when we read the NIV version or any English version of Ecclesiastes, you have to keep in mind that the original poet was written in Hebrew. So when you translate into English, sometimes it will lose some of the essence or some of the excitement when you're reading, a original language poem. But let's take a look at the English translation, because this is what we can do right now. Not everybody know Hebrew. So we take a look at the translation of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 1 through 14. A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting. For death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart. Frustration is better than laughter, because a sad face is good for the heart. The heart of the wise is the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is the house of pleasure. It is better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools. Like the crackling of thorns under the pot, so is the laughter of fools. This too is meaningless. Extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions. Wisdom, like an inheritance, is a good thing and benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a shelter as money is a shelter. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it. Wisdom, like I'm trying to click. Next one, please. Yeah, it's not clicking. Okay, consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has done crooked? When times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. As I was preparing for this sermon, I was reading an article about an expert report in 1967. Okay, it is a report compiled by a group of time management experts to the U.S. Senate, talking about a prediction of the future, okay, in 1967. Okay, these experts, they believe that technological innovations, robotics, and also satellites would present a very big problem for the people of America and also American workplace in the years to come. And what is the problem? In 1967, they predicted that people would have too much free time. And that's a quote, from the report. By 1985, people might have to choose between working 22 hours a week, 27 weeks a year, or retiring at the age of 38. Yeah, so Pastor Matt, you only have a few years, Yeah, and to retire. Yeah, because they predicted that, we will have so much free time because, all those automation, automated cars and robots will help us do almost everything. So people, they don't have to do anything. So the big problem is how to use those free time. And 1985 came and went. And after 20 years, are you working only 22 hours a week? My wife, the past 2 weeks, I've never seen her, literally, really, because when I woke up and I left home to work, and then she was still sleeping, and then when I went to bed, she wasn't even back. The past few days, she came home. She told me, yesterday, it was like 1:30, a.m. and 2 a.m. It's because the new product just rolled out, and then she had to stick with the testing machine because she's a test engineer in a semiconductor company, and just work herself to death. And we are so busy, right? And we are always busy, occupied with so many different of duties and appointments. Like, we're busy with our family, with our work, with church, with school, with our music lessons, with tutoring, and there are so many things to do, but we don't have enough time to do. Besides busy, the second word that can describe our life is hurry. We are in a hurry all the time. We need to find a way to use the least time to finish up as many tasks as possible. Beating deadlines, taking care of family needs, and we look for instant solutions, instant noodles, instant rice, and instant worship, as short as possible, because we got things to do, and hurry seems to be part of life. But besides busy and hurry, the third word I want to describe our lives is empty. A purpose is a very trendy word we always use. But it seems like we cannot find any purpose in things we are so busy with. And that makes us, not interested in the things that we have been doing anymore. No, we're not interested in, we get tired of doing house chores and get tired with our kids, get tired with our relationship, and get tired with church, get tired of sermon preparation, and get tired of reading the Bible. It seems like it's the same thing like what King Solomon was saying, that everything under the sun, that's nothing new. I've been going to church for 30 years, and to me, I've been going to church for 40 years. And I've heard so many different sermons. I've read through the Bible, went over the Bible many, many times. And what's new? And it seems like, everything is the same thing. We get tired of work and traffic and going to church and everything. Now, King Solomon, we need that. Take a little bit background of this book. He's the writer of this book, Ecclesiastes. And basically, Ecclesiastes is a Latin word saying, how you proclaim, the message of God. And as a messenger, of the message of God, he is a king in Jerusalem for 40 years. And he has a lot to say because now during his ruling of the country of Israel, basically, there was no foreign threat from other countries or other people around Israel because the Philistines, they were already pushed near the coastline of Mediterranean Sea because Solomon's father, David, did a very good job, pushing them away. And all the other people, they were very weak. So the country of Israel had a long time, 40 years of peaceful, stability that they can enjoy, the prosperity and stability of the country. And because of the land of honey and milk, and so they have a lot of produce, a lot of production, a lot of cattle, goats. So they did a lot of trading, and the country became very, very rich. And a lot of Gentile nations, they came to Israel to pay respect and pay tribute to King Solomon. So the country was really, really, really rich.
And some people said, King Solomon himself, when we count his wealth as compared to today's value, is over 2 trillion US dollars. Now, if you still remember in the Bible, it talks about how rich King Solomon was. There was a queen of Sheba, is close to what Ethiopia is today. Okay, and she thought she was the richest queen of the region. And then heard about King Solomon, and then she said, I need to go and check whether he is so rich, I should be richer than him. So he went to pay a pilgrimage, to see King Solomon. And then after she entered the palace, she was so shocked, because the palace of King Solomon, everything was in gold. There was, the armor of the National Guards. They are all, dressed in gold armor. It's just for eye candy. You cannot fight with real gold, right? And then gold shield. And when you eat, you use gold utensils. And I don't know how you can use because real gold is soft. You know that? Yeah. And so how you can eat, you with gold, utensils. And everything was in gold. And then she was shocked, and she said, now I know who is the richest man in the world. So you have heard about King Solomon's treasure. Yeah, because people, they're looking for, his treasure, because he was so rich. Now, with a country in peace, and with so much money, and he got time, and he got the leisure of trying to find the purpose in life. Okay, he got nothing to do, and he wanted to try everything. So the first chapter of Ecclesiastes is the beginning to tell his story of how he studied and explored the world around him. Now, study means doing research. Explore is experiment. That means King Solomon, he has the time, he has the money, he has everything. There's no threat, and he has security. So he said, well, I got time, so I want to find out what's going on under the sun. What's going on to my citizens, to all the people in the world. So he studied, did the research, and also he explored, did the experiment. It's just like, okay, you want to cook a dish of tomato beef, okay, so you go up to YouTube, and then you search, Martin Yan, cook a tomato beef, so you learn how to cook it, what the ingredients are, and things like that. That's study. Explore means you really try it. You turn on the stove, and then you use one meal as an experiment to try. And King Solomon, he said, I've tried almost everything that I can try. So in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 to 5, it's all narrative. It's not poetic. Its narrative is a report that King Solomon wants to tell you what he has studied and explored. He has tried money. He has tried sex. As you know, he had more than or close to 1,000 concubines and wives, in his, palace. He has tried this. He has tried power. The powerful ruler of the region. He has tried trying to uphold justice. He has tried different kind of things, drinking, food. And after all these, in chapter 6, he gave us a brief summary or the report. It is just like from chapter 1 to 6, it is an exhibition of photography, if you have been to, exhibitions like drawings or paintings or photography, it's just like one, exhibition. The first one, when you walk along the hallway of the exhibition, okay, this one is money. And then below it, there's a big word saying meaningless. Sex, meaningless. Power, meaningless. Food and drink, meaningless. Laughter, meaningless. The word meaningless appears over 30 times in the first 6 chapters. Now, everything seems to be meaningless under the sun. Now, this is how King Solomon is trying to tell us. If you look at everything under the sun, he said, I've tried everything that I can. And I'm going to tell you, everything under the sun is meaningless. So in chapter 7 to chapter 12, he's giving us another perspective. The perspective is, do not look under the sun. If we keep looking at things under the sun, that's nothing new. Everything is meaningless. But if we look above the sun, there's an answer to all these. And the answer is, the word happens or appears 35 times from chapter 7 to 12. The word is wisdom. Wisdom. What is wisdom? In Proverbs 9:10, we all know that the fear is the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It's just a beginning. It doesn't mean that you have your perfect wisdom, but if you want to begin to have wisdom, you have to fear the Lord. You have to look up beyond the sun, above the sun, not under the sun. And now chapter 7 is something that he wants us to know in a poetic, literature. Now there are many things, 4, 4, and 3. We have like 11 points, but I'm not going to, share with you all those. Yeah, but the words of wisdom for King Solomon, after he showed us the exhibitions, and then King Solomon is going to tell us, what he discovered. Now there are 4 paradoxes, I said, about life. Now, King Solomon is not going to tell us, okay, one, you have to focus on one and then discard the other. No. King Solomon said, okay, you are looking for all these, right? But is there another way that we have neglected, we need to focus more on? It's not about, you do one thing and then you discard another. No. It's not about, you focus on one thing and then you abandon another. No. But is it more important? Which is more important? Now let's take a look. So we can change a little bit of our paradigm. Every day we're in such a hurry, we are so busy, we're so empty. Maybe we need to look at a new perspective of life. What is more important, brothers and sisters? Let's take a look. A good name is better than fine perfume. Now, this is poet, okay? This is a poem. So you need to understand what he really wants to tell us. Fine perfume is, is a good perfume. It smells good. When you spray on something, it smells good. But perfume, there's one, drawback is it will vaporize. After, the smell is gone, then you have to spray it again. It's just like, in this country, usually people, they will use some fragrance, after you go to bathroom, right? And spray it, so as to cover, the bad smell. Yeah, but, those smell will go away, right? And if your bathroom is dirty and smelly and messy, you need to clean that up. If you keep on spraying it, still, it won't help. And Solomon said, a good name is better. Now, what is he trying to tell us is, we have been trying to fight for and to achieve a lot of things, but they are so superficial. If you're looking for outward appearance, it is a lot better if you're concerned about your own nature and your own character, your own integrity. It's more important than how many degrees you have, how many superficial things you achieve. Notice always in English saying are always like that. People today, they have too many degrees, but there's no temperature. It's all outward appearance. What's a good name? Now, for the Hebrew people, name is very important because name means your character, means your nature, or means what your father wants or your mother wants you to be. It reveals your nature when people look at your name. Now, you still remember when Jacob and Rachel had his younger son, Benjamin. Now, Benjamin was given birth by Rachel, and then Rachel had a difficult labor, and she was dying, painfully dying. And after she gave birth to Benjamin, and then Rachel died. And Jacob was so in such an agony. And Rachel, before she died, she said, this son gave me so much suffering. I'm going to give him the name Ben-Oni. Ben-Oni means, Oni, Ben is a son. Okay? Oni means suffering. It's a son of suffering. That means, this baby boy killed me, gave me suffering. And this is the name of the son. Think about, this little boy when he grows up, go to school, and when the teacher, call the name, son of suffering. Oh, you kill your mom, right? Yeah. And there's no future for the son, right? When you look at that boy, everybody knows, oh, he killed his mom, he gave suffering to the family. So Jacob said, no, I want to change his name. Not Ben-Omni, is Benjamin. Benjamin, the son of my right hand. Now, from killing his mom to become my dad's right-hand man. They're so different. And this reveals the nature of the person or what his parents want him to be. Now, King Solomon is saying, do not just look for superficial achievement. Is it better to look inside and build up your inner character? Now, I want to emphasize, it's not that you have to abandon, building up your achievement or doing, exercise. But you have to eat well and you have to be healthy. And then, at the same time, doing exercise. But the most important is you keep yourself healthy first. Inner being, internal is more important than external. And then, brothers and sisters, Crosspoint is always a church doing outreach, trying to evangelize, bring people in, and then we talk a lot about church growth. But church growth can only happen when brothers and sisters, internally, spiritually, they're strong, they're healthy. If not, it's just a fine perfume. And I'm not saying that we should not outreach, or we should do, one first and then the other later. No. But simultaneously, we need to do it at the same time, not just only focus on reaching out, but we need to build a healthy church with brothers and sisters, with a healthy inner being. And the second thing is the day of death is better than the day of birth. Now, because of time, I'm not going to explain all this, but in today's terms, very easy to understand. We all like red egg and ginger party. You're going to, baby showers. But Solomon says, is it better you spend 30 minutes, go to Skylon in Daly City, and walk around the graveyard? It is better than you go 3 days to Las Vegas to attend a red egg and ginger party. Because death will come one day to everybody. But we tend not to think about it. But King Solomon said, is it better we concern about what will happen to our death and also what will happen beyond our death, rather than just keep on having parties and having fun all the time. Frustration is better than laughter. Why? Because frustration will bring us humility and look at the vulnerability of our lives, and we are so vulnerable, and we need God. We are not God, and so we should not just focus on laughter. And also the rebuke of a wise person is better than listen to the song of fools. We like to listen to people's praises, flattering compliments, rather than criticisms or different ideas. Just like around this time, brothers and sisters, if you want to invite or pick a fight, talk to somebody about the situation in Hong Kong. I have different chat groups in my WhatsApp app. There's so many different friends. Some of them over 30 years friendship, broken. Just because somebody said something in a text, and then a few of them said, I'm shameful to be with you in this group. And then they left the group. Because people, they don't like to listen different opinions. But different opinions give us a wider and more objective perspective in life. And brothers and sisters, King Solomon said, there are 4 things we need to be aware of now. I'm not going to talk more about that because we all know that. Extortion, power. Bribe, money. And pride, achievement. And also, remnants. It is all, about how you focus on your life. And today, people, they are focusing on money and power and good old days and achievements. But what should we do? The Bible is full of solutions. It's not just saying, we should not do this, we should not do that, right? And King Solomon is going to give us a very important solution for busy people, for people they are focusing on the wrong things. That thing is wisdom. We have to focus on wisdom. How can we have this wisdom, brothers and sisters? During this busy and empty and in such a hurry kind of life, how can you look up above the sun? You don't even have time to be with your kids, with your wife, with your husband. You don't even have time, to spend with your life group members. How can we have the time to look for this wisdom? Brothers and sisters, Jesus set a very good example to all of us. Though he had the whole world on his shoulders, but he never let busyness and hurry and emptiness crush him. Because Jesus set himself a time to move away from the busy life and seek God during that time. Now, I don't know, how many times you need in one day or in a week or in half a year. But I plead, brothers and sisters, I would suggest and encourage you, when you are already at a boiling point, you're going to explode. You are losing God. You're losing your interest in spiritual stuff. Maybe it is the time that you seek God. Move away from what you're doing right now. Now, there are several things I want to share with you. Recess. You need to stop for a while. I'm not suggesting that you go to a monastery, far away in the mountains and become a monk, and then you solve all the problems in the world. No. But you need some time to pause for a moment and then seek solitude, alone yourself with God, away from all those disturbances. I know it's difficult, Pastor Matt, but just leave the kid to Sarah, okay? Go away, for half a day, right? And then away from all those, baby crying and house chores and the demands of the wife, and then move away. And then refer, listen and observe what God has been doing in your life. Now, this is very important because if you don't withdraw yourself away, it is very difficult that you can concentrate on meditating, on observing, on listening, on seeing what God has been doing in your life for the past week, for the past quarter in your life. And then reflect. And then rebuild. Pray and seek the strength and wisdom to continue your daily life. Because after this retreat, you have to go back to a normal life. And you have to face the same kind of busy and hurry and empty kind of life. But I hope this short time of retreat, no matter you're going to a Catholic site or you are just going up to Mission Hill or you are just hiding yourself in a car, I don't know. But try this, brothers and sisters. We need to rest in the Lord. And we need this kind of refocus and rejuvenation of our life. And let me share with you a little bit about myself. The one thing working at Crosspoint is, Crosspoint wants to win the whole world, right? But we don't want to lose our life. So things are so busy, every day is so busy. And then when I go home, I'm busy with house chores, my backyard gardening, and also, cooking and taking care of, housework. You can never have the house cleaned with your wife, coming home 2 a.m. in the morning, right? So I have to do all kinds of things. And every day is so busy. Busy. But I have set a time for myself to be away from all these. So every now and then, I'm trying to push it to once a week, but sometimes it's difficult. So once a while, maybe every other week, I would take VTA light rail. From where I live, I have to walk 30 minutes to the station. I take VTA light rail, to go to Great Mall Station. It takes only like 1 hour, but walking from Great Mall to here, 35 minutes. Just do my exercise. But when I was in the train, on the platform, walking, is the time I am with God. I deliberately and intentionally, I take off this time for 1 hour walking. And I can observe. When you're driving in a car, okay, you can pray, you can listen to songs, but you can only see cars and traffic accidents, things like that. But it's very hard for you to meet different people and pray for different people and pray for, the city. When I was in the light rail, I see different kinds of people, very, very funny. And you see different kinds of lives around you, and you can pray for them. Now, let me give you an example. Last Thursday, just the past Thursday, I did that. And then on the platform, there was a black lady. She looked very, very stressful. So I approached her. I said, how may I help you? And then she said, I miss my platform. I miss my station because this is my first time taking light rail. I want to go to Great Mall, but now I'm on the platform of Montague. I don't know how to get back. And it's the first time she took, the train, the light rail. So I said, Montague is just one station away from Great Mall. And so I said, I'm going that way too. So why don't you, go with me? So I took her, on the train. And then during that 5-minute trip, she talked to me so much about why she was taking light rail. She said she was driving every day. She's a clerk at the Superior Court in downtown San Jose. And then she said, life has been like this every day, driving, traffic, stuck in traffic, things like that. Until one day she went to office and she found out her boss got a stroke and now became a vegetable in bed. And that changed her whole perspective in life. She said one thing, the first thing she said is, I need to slow down. So that's why she started taking the light rail. Now this is her way of slowing down, and she said, it's less stressful. If I can take light rail and not stuck in traffic. And she thanked me for helping her find the right way. And then after I talked to her, she left the train, the light rail, and then I said to myself, every day I see different people. I can pray for them. I can talk to them. I can meet them. I can look them in their eyes and know what's going on with the ordinary people in this city. And this is my purpose. And during the walking, I can pray to God, listen to God, and observe what He has been doing. And you need that before you can do all these 3 things. Now, what are the 3 things? 1, after you do all these, you will know wisdom preserves those who have it. You will be aware God is with you. God is real. And God is always, there. And there is a God. You're not just intellectually, you know it. But it is real. That God is real. Not just there's a God, but also you are aware there's a God. Aware of His presence. And the second thing is, you see things with God's glasses, the spectacles that God has given you to look at things in God's way. God has made all things, bad things, good times, bad times. And when you look at things in His perspective, it will give you a new meaning in life when you look at things. I always like what Rick Warren said about, if you always lie in the beach of Waikiki and drinking, a cup of Hawaiian punch, look at the beach and the waves and the ladies, dancing on the beach, and how can you learn what is peace? What is, peace in the midst of, trials and temptations. The bad times sometimes is because God wants us to learn something good. And when you look at that in God's perspective, it will give you a new meaning in all the things, whether it's good things, bad things. And this can only be done, if you reflect yourself on what God has done in your life. What would Jesus do? And what would Jesus see? When you look at those people, they said to Jesus, those are sinners, bad people. And Jesus said, they're not bad people. They're just sick. They need a physician. They need a doctor to cure them. So when you look at things in God's perspective, it's so different than from our human nature. And the third thing, very important, not just be aware of His presence, not just look things from His perspective, but also we discover that He is walking with us. He's always be with us if you're willing to be aware that He is walking with you. No one can discover anything about the future, right? So, we don't know what will happen tomorrow, but we know who holds the future. And the only one thing is, we don't know about the future, but God said He's going to pace us, walk with us along the way. And in my life, there are so many things I want to thank God that He has walked with me. So many things. But when I reflected on this, sermon, I remember one time when I was in the University of Texas in Austin. I was going to graduate school there, and then it was the busiest. I think when I look back, it's the busiest period of my life. I worked 2 jobs. Librarian in the Architecture Library of Austin, Texas, and also I worked as a waiter in a Chinese restaurant. And I worked long day, day and night shifts, because I had to support my own, tuition and also my daily living. And also school, I was going to graduate school, finishing up my master's degree in education. And also I serve a lot in a church. Every moment is so tight, and I didn't even have any free time. One day, in my class, the teacher let us off 10 minutes earlier, so I didn't have anything to do. I felt like, I should go to the bulletin board. At that time, you don't have a lot of apps and things like that. The bulletin board, look at news, school announcements. And then I read a poster saying, anybody who wants to graduate must submit their application at the date and time, 5 p.m. latest. And the date, I looked at my watch. I said, well, that's today. I forgot to apply for graduation. And I already got accepted by Golden Gate Seminary. And I cannot stay in Austin, for one more semester and wait for my graduation. I need to apply. But what's the time now? It's 3 p.m. And 5 p.m. is the deadline. And the office would close. So what should I do? So I just ran, to my advisor. I prayed to God. I said, God, it's my mistake because I've been so busy. I forgot and about the graduation application. So I went to my advisor. And then I knocked at his door. And at the door, there's a sign saying, Doctor, what and what? Vacation for 2 weeks. I said, what? Oh, no. And then I prayed to God. I said, God, help me. I need you. Bad times, you get close to God. And then, after I prayed, I heard a voice from the next office. The voice said, hey, Ting, what are you doing here? He's another professor. And then I explained to him, I said, I forgot about today's deadline of application to graduate. So I need my advisor to sign the paper for me. But he's on vacation now. What should I do? And then that professor said, oh, that's easy. Let me sign for you. I said, no, you're not my advisor, right? And then he said, who cares? So he just signed my paper, and then I dashed to the administration office, and the door was closed. I saw a lady locking the door. And then I stood outside the door. I pleaded to that lady, please let me in. I need to submit this form. And the lady said, it's 5:02 now. And then I said, please please let me in, you know. And then that lady reluctantly opened the door and then took my application and then locked the door back. And then I graduated on time. And when I look back, you know, it's a 30-year-old story. But when I look back, there have been many, many times in my busy life that I have missed or forgotten a lot of things. But God is always there to help me through, to walk me through. And I know that He is a God not just aware of His presence, not just seeing things in His own perspective, but also He is a friend that always walks with me. And I hope, brothers and sisters, you can find this friend in your busy life. It's just like what the psalmist says, even though we walk through the darkest valley, we should not fear no evil, for God is with you. His rod and His staff will always comfort us. And Jesus said, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Real rest is not in bed. It's in Jesus. Let's pray together. Dear Father, I just give thanks to you for helping us to understand what King Solomon is trying to tell us. Lord, so often we forget about you, about your presence, about what you want us to do in our busy life. But Lord, thank you for King Solomon helping us to understand if we want real rest in life, we really need to come back to you and reflect on you and to walk with you and be aware of your presence in our lives. And so, Lord, today, after this sermon, I just pray that everyone who have heard this sermon, we go back and we can find a time that we can retreat, we can come to you, reflect, and be rejuvenated in our spiritual life. So we can move on our busy life with you walking with us together. And we pray all this in the name of our Lord Jesus. Amen.
Let us take a time